everyone, I'm Angela from Nova IT Land here. I've put together another new short tutorial for you today. I really hope you find it useful. If you do, please subscribe, like, and click that bell for more.
So, you've built a website, right? Or maybe a blog post or launched a new product. And then comes that big question. Okay, how do I get people to actually find this thing? Well, the answer almost always comes down to three little letters. S-E-O. Now, I know what you might be thinking. SEO. It sounds complicated, maybe like some kind of dark art. But today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We'll demystify it and show you what it really is. A powerful strategy to get seen online. All right, let's jump in.
Okay, let's kick things off with just one number. 53%. Just let that number hang in the air for a sec.
So what is that 53%? That is the chunk of all website traffic that comes from organic search. Yep, not from paid ads, not from social media, just from people going to a search engine and looking for something. It is the single biggest source of visibility online, period. Which brings us to a really important question. Are you being seen where it counts the most?
And to answer that, we really need to get on the same page about what SEO even is. Let's forget all those old myths, about stuffing keywords everywhere and trying to find secret tricks. Modern SEO, it's a serious digital strategy.
So, let's nail down this definition. Search engine optimization. Look, it's so much more than just a race to get that #1 spot. The keywords here are process, enhancing visibility, driving traffic, but the most important part? That last bit, achieve business goals. At the end of the day, that's what SEO is all about. It's about connecting what someone needs with your solution and doing it in a way that actually helps your business grow.
Now, you're probably thinking, wait, can I just pay for ads? And yeah, you absolutely can. That's called paid search, or PPC. It gets you that visibility at the top of the page like right now. It's super fast. But SEO is about earning that spot. It's about building trust, both with search engines and, more importantly, with your audience over time. I love this analogy. It's like the difference between renting an apartment and buying a house. Renting gets you a place to stay for now. Owning a house builds long-term equity.
Okay, so if you want to earn that trust, you've got to understand how search engines actually think. And honestly, the best way to picture a search engine like Google is to think of it as the world's most organized, most efficient librarian.
And this librarian? It has a pretty simple three-step system. First up is crawling. This is where it goes out and discovers all the books, all the pages on the internet. Then, and this is a really critical step, comes indexing. This is where our librarian acts like a gatekeeper. It's building its card catalog, but it's only adding the high-quality books. If your page is thin or spammy, guess what? It doesn't even make it into the catalog. And finally, when you or I ask a question, the librarian ranks all the relevant books to recommend the absolute best one for our query.
And this quote right here, it just nails that point about indexing. Content quality is not just about performing better, but about having the opportunity to perform at all. Think about that. If our librarian thinks your book is junk, it doesn't even get put on the shelf. It's not about ranking poorly, you have zero chance of ever being found. Quality isn't just a tiebreaker to get to the top, it's the price of admission to even play the game.
So, the big question is, how do you make sure that librarian absolutely loves your book? Well, it all comes down to building a strong foundation. In SEO, we talk about the 4 pillars. This is basically your blueprint for success. All right, so this blueprint breaks down into these 4 key areas. Let's stick with our library analogy. On-Page SEO, that's the quality of the book itself, the actual words, the content, the chapters. Off-Page SEO is your book's reputation. How many other trusted librarians are recommending it? Backlinks. Technical SEO, that's like the quality of the printing and the binding. Is it easy for the librarian to read and categorize? Is the file format right? And finally, local SEO is all about making sure your book shows up in the right neighborhood library for local searches. Every single one of these is a crucial piece of the puzzle.
And here's the most important part. These pillars, they don't work by themselves. They all work together to build one thing, and one thing only: trust. Yeah, trust with Google, sure, but way more importantly, trust with your users. I mean, think about it. A fast-loading site with amazing content that has a great reputation, that's a website people are going to trust and come back to. But here's the catch. Building that trust is kind of a moving target. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, the rules of the game change. Because in the world of SEO, the only thing that's truly constant is change.
Just look at the history of Google's big algorithm updates. It tells a really clear story. Way back, it started with Panda and Penguin, which were all about penalizing sites with junky, thin content and spammy links. Then came Hummingbird. And suddenly Google could understand conversational questions, not just disconnected keywords. And more recently, with the helpful content update, Google basically just came out and said it. We are going to reward content that's made for people, not for algorithms.
So what does this whole timeline really show us? It's that the entire history of SEO is just the story of Google getting better and better at thinking like a person. So trying to game the system, trying to trick the algorithm, that is a losing strategy. The most future-proof thing you can do? Stop optimizing for robots. Start creating for humans.
And what do humans love right now? Video. I mean, look at this. A staggering 82% of all internet traffic is now video content. That isn't just some passing trend, it's a fundamental shift in how we all consume information. And you better believe search engines are paying close attention.
This massive shift means our tactics have to evolve too. We have to start optimizing for the full questions people are asking their smart speakers. That's voice search. We need to create content that's so good it actually gets cited in those new AI overviews. And now more than ever, we have to prove our EEAT. That stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trust. It's basically Google's new checklist for asking, hey, are you a credible source? Do you actually know what you're talking about?
And let's zoom in on those AI overviews for a sec, because honestly, they're a massive game changer. Take a look at this chart. Now, the data is still new, but it suggests that when an AI answer box shows up, the number of people who actually click through to a website could drop a lot. The game is shifting from winning the click to becoming the trusted source for the answer itself.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. The SEO playbook from 5 years ago, heck, even from 1 year ago, it's already out of date. The game is constantly changing. The tech is always evolving. So you have to ask yourself, is my strategy built around chasing yesterday's algorithm, or is it focused on serving tomorrow's user? Because in the end, that's the only strategy that's actually built to last.